Hello, students. Welcome to Gyanvyar School of Education, Suresh Gyanvyar University. I'm Dr. Sonia Korpansel, and today I will be teaching you about cognitive base for learning according to Bloom's taxonomy. And the subject is psychology of teaching and learning. So, my learning objective of today's class, students, is to enable you to understand about what is Bloom's taxonomy, and what are the different terms and keywords of Bloom's taxonomy, what was the original taxonomy, and what was the updated taxonomy. So, all of you will be going to learn it from today's lecture. So, students, let's start learning what is cognitive base for learning. So, students, before starting about Bloom's taxonomy, let me introduce you with Benjamin S. Bloom, who was the propounder of Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom was actually known as a Benjamin Samuel Bloom, and he was born on 21st February 1913, and he died on September 13, 1999, 86. So in Chicago, and he belonged to United States of America. So and he was PhD in education, and as an occupation he was from educational psychologist, and he worked so much on educational psychology and gave this wonderful Bloom's taxonomy, which we still remember uh, by his name. He was employed in American Educational Research Association. So Benjamin S. Bloom is known for his Bloom's taxonomy, and he has given three levels of his taxonomy, that was cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So students, let's learn about him in a more elaborated way, and how he actually gave the Bloom's taxonomy to the world. That whole teaching community and learning community is very much benefited from this taxonomy. So let's learn it. Now, before going to the Bloom taxonomy, let me introduce you with a very brief background information that in 1956, Benjamin Bloom, with his collaborators like Max Engelert, Edwin First, Walter Hill, and David Carthwohl, published a framework for categorizing educational goals, taxonomy of educational objectives. So it is also familiarly known as Bloom's taxonomy, and this framework has been applied by generations of 2012 teachers and colleges instructors in their teaching. So the framework elaborated by Bloom and his collaborators consisted of six major categories, which are knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So the categories after knowledge were presented as skills and abilities, with the understanding that knowledge was necessary precondition for putting these skills and abilities into practice. So while each category contained subcategories, all lying alone, with continuum from simple to complex and concrete to abstract. The taxonomy is popularly known, students, and it is remembered according to its six main categories that we are going to introduce you in today's lecture. So this is about brief background information that you must know about Bloom's taxonomy. Now let's understand that there was an original taxonomy in 1956. So it was consisting of six important features. So first of all, knowledge. So knowledge was the category where it involved the recall of specifiers and universals, the recall of methods and processes, or the recall of a pattern, structure, or setting. So, students, it was really important for a teacher and as well as for learner to go through the knowledge part. And knowledge part is really actually associated with facts findings. So, whatever is their recall and recognition, that was belong to knowledge part. Then came the comprehension, which was originally in Bloom's taxonomy. So comprehension refers to a type of understanding about the chapter, about the content what you are teaching, or apprehension, such that the individual knows what is being communicated and can make use of the material or idea being communicated without necessary relating it to other materials or seeing its fullest implications. So this is how Bloom's taxonomy was really very much effective in comprehension phase. And then whatever it is learned is coming into third important term, that is application, and it refers to the use of abstractions in the particular and concrete situations. So this is how application also became an important part of Bloom's taxonomy, where the Bloom told us about the important feature of theoretical and practical knowledge. So when something is learned in theoretical form, it is also used in practical form as well. So this is how knowledge, comprehension, then application part, they were all going along together. Then came analysis, and it represented the breakdown of communication into its constituent element or parts, such that the relative hierarchy of ideas is made clear, and or the relation between ideas expressed are made explicit. So analysis was really an important part, and it was actually supposed to do detailed analysis of the content and chapter whatever is being taught to the students. Then came the synthesis, so joining many parts together, whatever the teacher has taught to the students, this came into this term. So putting together of all elements and parts so as to form a whole. So then synthesis is the process where the uh, teacher is combining all the important analysis factors and then presenting it in front of students, and students are also joining it in their minds. Then last is evaluation in original taxonomy. So, evaluation engenders judgment about the value of material and methods for given purposes. So, evaluation was related to evaluation of the content, whatever the teacher has taught till now. So, it was based on the comprehension, application, analysis, and synthesis part. So, that's why analysis is very important when a teacher is teaching a content, because without evaluation, you cannot judge how much your students have learned. So, this was a very important part in Bloom's taxonomy. Now, we are going to discuss about the revised taxonomy which came in 2001. So what about this revised taxonomy? So let's understand that a group of cognitive psychologists, curriculum theorists, and instructional researchers and testing and assessment specialists published in 2001 a revision of Bloom's taxonomy with a title, A Taxonomy for Teaching, Learning and Assessment. Clear, students? And this title draws attention away from the somewhat static notion of educational objectives. So, this just try to understand that now it was a taxonomy for teaching, learning, and assessment. So, in Bloom's original title, and points to a more dynamic conception of classification. Clear, students? Now, the authors of the revised taxonomy underscore this dynamism, using verbs and gerunds to label their categories, subcategories, rather than the nouns of the original taxonomy. So these action words describe the cognitive processes by which thinkers encounter and work with the knowledge. So it was really very important to understand that there came some new action words in the revised taxonomy. And it was now becoming very important for everyone to understand that according to teaching objectives, behavioral objectives, and according to cognitive learning theory, certain thinking process can be lead to more knowledge retention, and cognitive learning can help you to achieve mastery in your career by highlighting the best you learn, the way you learn. So cognitive if we talk about cognitive learning, what is cognitive learning? Then the simple answer is that cognitive learning is a style that focuses on more effective use of the brain, how the student will be using the brain while learning. So to understand the process of cognitive learning, it is important to know the meaning of cognition. So cognition is also the mental process of gaining knowledge and understanding through the senses, experiences, and thought. So, cognitive learning theory merges cognition learning to explain the different processes involved in learning effectively. Clear, students? So, the cognitive learning process aims actually to chart the learning process for optimal thinking of the students, understanding and retention of what they are learning from the teacher. So when you are mastering the fundamentals of cognitive learning, so it is really very important because it becomes easy to maintain a lifelong habit of continuous learning. Not only can these strategies make you feel better, but they can also make you more likely to excel in your profession. So with cognitive learning strategies, you can really become a powerful public speaker, a visionary leader, or a motivated team player. So who is helping your organization as a teacher to achieve its goals and objective in its educational objectives way. So when we are teaching to our students, and if the teacher and student they are working hard, and if the educational objectives are achieved in the behavioral form, only then the teaching is successful, only then the administration is successful in setting up all the environment necessary for the teaching. So this is how I have explained to you about cognitive word and how the cognitive is actually very important. Cognitive part is actually relating to brain. So we talk about 3H, which I really mean head. 3H is the head, heart, and hand, and it is simultaneously related with Bloom's taxonomy. So head part is related to cognitive, and heart part is related to affective domain, and then psychomotor is related to hand. So this is how cognitive I have explained you. So now the next, let's proceed further. Now, it was based on findings of cognitive science following the original publication. A later revision of the taxonomy changes the nomenclature and order of the cognitive processes in the original version. So, in this later version, the levels are included, which are remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So, these were the new action verbs which were revised in 2001 taxonomy. So, I have already told you that in originally the taxonomy involved knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. But later on, there came many action words also. So these levels were increasing with this version. And remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create, these were the terms now being used. So this reorganization places the skill of synthesis rather than evaluation at the highest level of the hierarchy. So furthermore, this revision adds a new dimension across all six cognitive processes. So students, it specifies the four type of knowledge that might be addressed by learning activity, factual terminology, and discrete facts, conceptual categories of a technique, process, or methodology, and metacognitive, including self-assessment ability and knowledge of various learning skills and techniques. Clear, students? So this was included in revised taxonomy. Now the important question arises here in teaching and learning process, that why we should use Bloom's taxonomy. This is an important question, and we must all understand that the authors of revised taxonomy suggest a multi-layered answer to this question, that why we must use Bloom's taxonomy, and to which the author of this teaching guide has added some clarifying points. Objective learning goals are important to establish in a pedagogical interchange so that the teachers and students like understand the purpose of that interchange. So, organizing objectives help to clarify objectives for themselves and for students as well. So, having an organized set of objectives help teachers to plan and deliver appropriate instructions, design valid assessment, tasks, and strategies. And it also ensures that instructions and assessment are aligned with the objectives in a behavioral form. So that's why Bloom's taxonomy is defining the teachers and students that for what reason they are teaching and what reason the students are learning. So the Bloom's taxonomy is a wonderful way to see the educational objectives in a set form, set pattern. Clear, students? Now, just understand this diagram which I am giving you, that is increasing complexity is going from knowledge to evaluation. And when a teacher is teaching and the student is learning, so both are working on these levels which is shown to you on my screen. That first is their recall and recognition part, which belongs to knowledge, and then comprehension, understanding, and then application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So this is how Bloom's taxonomy is working. And as we go higher and higher, the complexity is increasing, understanding level is increasing. So this also actually belonging to the higher order thinking skills, which is HOTS. Clear, students? So just remember this diagram and understand that this is the original Bloom's taxonomy, and we must learn it to see the educational objectives in its behavioral form. So now let's understand further taxonomy of educational objectives, which we are going to discuss now. So Bloom's is a hierarchical. When we are talking about Bloom's, so we just imagine the hierarchical theory, and meaning that learning at the higher levels is dependent on having attained prerequisite knowledge and skills at lower levels. So it is not possible even for a small child that he directly is learning about sentences, for example, in English language, if the child hasn't learned about the alphabets. So it is really very important to learn the previous steps or the previous levels, lower levels first, and then going up and up. So this is same in Bloom's taxonomy, that first we actually connect with lower objectives, then we go to the higher objectives. And it depends on the content how we go towards that. So, but it needs a proper attention from everyone. By this, I mean that teachers must pay a very minute attention to the content what they are going to teach, as in what way it is going to create the higher order thinking skills in a proper manner. Clear, students? Now, a goal of Bloom's taxonomy is to motivate educators to focus on all three domains and creating a more holistic form of education. So this is how Bloom's taxonomy actually motivates the teachers to become focused with their teaching skills and affect the learning domains also, which is actually divided by Bloom, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So it actually creates a more holistic form of education, very systematic and organized form of educational objectives, that why a particular content will be taught. Clear, students? Now, the classification of educational objective is known as taxonomy of education or Bloom's taxonomy. So taxonomy, by word taxonomy, we mean a classification of an object or an idea. So whatever we are going to teach as a teacher, we have an idea behind that. So how we are going to classify that? This is the word taxonomy, which will be explaining it. So Bloom's taxonomy divides educational objectives into three domains: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Clear, students? So now let's see further that we are going to study in today's lecture, that is cognitive domain. So cognitive domain is actually related to intellectual aspects of educational objectives. And intellectual aspects are the basically those skills in the cognitive domain revolve around knowledge, comprehension, and thinking through a particular topic. How your brain is working, how you are thinking, how you are giving logics. This is all included in cognitive domain, and it also includes learning objectives, which deals with recall and recognition of knowledge and development of intellectual activities and skills. Okay, students, so now let's understand that cognitive domain, which was given by Benjamin as Bloom in 1956 originally, it involves knowledge and development of intellectual skills, and includes the recall and recognition of specific facts, procedural patterns, and concepts that serve in the development of intellectual abilities and skills. So there are six major categories in Bloom's taxonomies, which are listed in order to below, started from the simplest behavior to the most complex. And as I have told you that as the level increases, it goes in higher order. So the complexity is increasing, and the students are learning more and more. And the categories can be thought of as a degrees of difficulties as well. So that is the first one must be mastered before the next one can take place. Okay. Now, first of all, we are going to understand about knowledge. Let me introduce you with the six terms individually so that you are going to understand in a proper way, students. So, we are going to understand about knowledge, comprehension, application, synthesis, analysis, and evaluation in a very brief way. And then I'm going to tell you in a very tabular form that how these different terms are defining many behavioral changes in the students. So let's understand very attentively. So knowledge, this is known as the knowledge component of educational objective. So this means that knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, these six categories of behavior are arranged from simple to complex. And this means that specific ways in knowledge, when we are talking about specially, it deals with specifies particular thing, which is fact. You cannot change that. Universal, the sun rises from the east. This is the fact, universal fact. You cannot change that. And in knowledge, we are comprising all the abstraction in a field. So important facts are included in knowledge, and we basically believe that students have it in their mind and they're recalling and then ultimately recognizing them. This can be done in the classroom with the help of previous based knowledge activities, also maybe in the form of introductory questions that the teacher is going to ask before starting a chapter. Clear? So this is how knowledge part is explained. Now let's understand comprehension. Comprehension is related to understanding. So when the child is learning in the classroom and the teacher is teaching, so the child is comprehending about the chapter or the content the teacher is teaching. Not the after your teaching as a teacher, the student will be able to translate, interpret, and extrapolation about the chapter that you have just taught him. So this is how comprehension is as well very important. Now next is application. Application is whatever the student has learned, the student is going to apply that learning in different and new situations. So this is how the theoretical and practical knowledge is balanced, and the students are showing up what they have learned theoretically. Now they are also applying them in real life situations as well. So this is the application part, which is actually taught by this teacher in the classroom while teaching the content. Now analysis. So analysis means the small elements of the content will be seen very minutely, and its relationship will be established in a very proper way, and organizational principles will also be applied. So how they are organized, how the different facts are organized, how the relationship between two or many variables are actually established, how the small elements are adjoining together. So this type of analysis is done in Bloom's taxonomy in the analysis part. Now synthesis is something joining, combining. So the production of a unique communication also arises here. It is giving you a whole soul plan, proposed set of operations as well, and derivations of a set of abstractions relation also. So whatever has been analyzed, now you're joining them together in front of your students, that is related to Bloom's taxonomy of synthesis. Now, evaluation. So, judgment in terms of internal evidence and judgment in terms of external criteria. So, evaluation can be done through internal and external in both ways. Okay. So, whatever the teacher has taught, the teacher can internally evaluate them by maybe asking oral question or taking written test as well. And this is also possible and must be done in fact, that after taking internal evaluation, external criteria must also be selected. So externally also, the teacher is actually trying to judge the students in their knowledge about the content. So this is how the terms are defined in a very minute way. Now let's have a look on the different types of categories and with their examples and keywords. Okay, students. So now let's understand one by one each category, and you will really feel happy when you understand cognitive domain of learning in these terms. So let's understand in a very clear way that how these different categories are related to different key terms, and how can we actually create examples in the classroom situations. This is really very important for everyone to understand. So now, first of all, knowledge. So recall data or information. So whatever the teacher is teaching in the classroom, the teacher is expecting the students to keep it in their mind, and the information they possess, they must be able to recall when it is required. So when we are talking about the category knowledge, so we can actually do some activities in the classroom such as reciting a policy, quoting prices from memory to a customer. Okay, this will come in this price, and knows the safety rules. So when we are talking about traffic rules, so this is all in the knowledge and the memory level of the student, that now the student is going to recall and recognize. Just understand that when a student is walking, or maybe the driving, when we are driving on the road, we do not have to revise every time that what does green light says, what does yellow light means, and what does red light means. It is recalling and data and information set in our mind, and we are working accordingly every time we go on roads. So this is how knowledge is working in the classroom as well. So every time the student is recalling the same thing, basic things which are related to the content, and the keywords related to knowledge maybe defines. So defining a definition, any term, describing, identifying, knows, labels, list, matches, names, outlines, recalls, recognizes, reproduces, select, states. So these are very important features that you must remember. Now, comprehension. So understand the meaning, translation, interpolation, and interpretation of instructions and problems. State a problem in one's own words. So this is how comprehension is really very important when you are teaching a chapter. So for example, students, you can give rewriting the principles of test writing. Explain in one's own words the steps for performing a complex task, how you are going to perform it. Just write down the steps. Then translates an equation into computer spreadsheets. Keywords will be comprehends, converts, defends, distinguishes, estimates, explains, extends, generalizes, gives examples, infers, interprets, paraphrases, predicts, rewrites, summarizes, translates. So this is how the students are actually learning in according to these terms. Okay, students. So these are the important things that you must all remember. That knowledge and comprehension are really very essential when we are talking about teaching a chapter. So knowledge is actually giving you the opportunity to recall and recognize the data and information stored in your mind, and comprehension is actually giving you the opportunity to comprehend and convert certain important things that are really very important as a teacher. So you may be distinguishing important things and maybe estimating, explaining, extends, generalizing, giving examples, or are all are related to comprehension. So now we have learned this much, and now we are going to understand about the next category that is related to application. And in application, we connect it to a use of concept in a new situation or unprompted use of an abstraction. Applies what was learnt in the classroom into novel situation in the workplace. And for example, using a manual to calculate an employee's vacation time, applying laws of statistics to evaluate the reliability of a written test, and the keywords will be related to applying, changing, computes, constructs, demonstrates, discovers, manipulates, modifies, operates, predicts, prepares, produces, relates, shows, solves, and uses. Then analysis. So analysis part is also separating material for concepts into component part so that its organizational structure may be understood. Distinguishes between facts and inferences. So, for example, troubleshoot a piece of equipment by using a logical deduction, recognizing logical fallacies in reasoning, gathers information from a department and selects the required task for training. And the keywords would be analyzing, breakdown, compares, contrast, diagram, deconstructs, differentiates, discriminates, distinguishes, identifies, illustrates, infers, outlines. These are all related to analysis part, like relates, selects, separates. So something when you are actually paying close attention to the elements of the content, then these keywords will be used and the students will be framing their educational objectives accordingly, and the teachers will be teaching them accordingly. Now there comes synthesis part. So synthesis, which I have told you, that it builds a structure or pattern from diverse elements, and it also puts parts together to form a whole with emphasis on creating a new meaning or structure. So this is actually combining the things when we are more and more analyzing the things. For example, students write a company operator operations or process manual in detail what you want and what how it will be working. Design a machine to perform a specific task. Integrates training from several sources to solve a problem. Revises and processes to improve the outcome as well. And the keywords will be categorizing, combining, compiles, composes, creating, devising, or design, explains, generates, modifies, organizing, reconstructing, relates, reorganizing, revises, rewriting, summarizes, tells, right? So these are all the main keywords of synthesizing part. Now let's talk about evaluation part. So evaluation is something, as I've told you, making judgments about the value of ideas and materials you have taught to your students. For example, select the most effective solution, hire the most qualified candidate, explain and justify a new budget, or you are evaluating the content you have taught to your students. And there are again many key terms related to the evaluation process as well. So it will be appraises, compares, concludes, contrast, criticizes, critics, defends, describes, discriminates, evaluates, explains, interprets, justifies, relates, summarizes, supports. So these are the basic key terms which are related to evaluation part of the Bloom's taxonomy. Clear, students? I hope you have learned these 6 categories in a very detailed and in with example and with key terms in a proper way. So just try to set your learning objectives according to Bloom's taxonomy so that you will be getting maximum benefit of your teaching. So in conclusion, students, we can say that it is really very important to note that the most common uses of Bloom's taxonomy focuses on cognitive learning skills rather than the psychomotor or affective skills. So, two domains that are crucial to success of any teachers or health professionals in the professional area. So, information professionals who train or instruct other can use also Bloom's taxonomy very well. They can write learning objectives and describe the skills and abilities that they desire their learners to master and demonstrate as well. So this is how Bloom's taxonomy is really wonderful in its formation, because it is giving you maximum coverage of whatever you want to teach. And what will be your concluding ideas about that? What do you want to achieve as a behavioral objectives? So Bloom's taxonomy is really useful in two important ways. So, firstly, use of the taxonomy encourages instructors to think of learning objectives in behavioral terms, to consider what the learner can do as a result of the instructions. And a learning objective written using action verbs will indicate the best method of assessing the skills and knowledge taught to them. Then, list of action verbs that are appropriate for learning objectives, at least of Bloom's taxonomy, are widely available on the internet. So you can go through and practice how the instructional objectives are set accordingly. And second main important thing, that considering learning goals in the light of Bloom's taxonomy highlights the need for including learning objectives that require higher level for cognitive skills that lead to deeper learning and transfer of knowledge and skills to a greater variety of tasks and context. So it is really very fruitful if the teacher is setting instructional objectives in advance, and the teacher is planning for those important objectives beforehand, that the teacher is willing to have among their students in behavioral form. Clear, students? So now let's understand the educational objectives again in the form of an activity and quiz. So there is one passage I have bought it for you, and you have to answer the questions that follow later on. So I'm reading that passage word to word, and then you try to understand that quiz, that how it will be in educational objectives point of view, and how you are going to set the objectives. Clear? Maybe there are other factors also like affective and psychomotor also, but you have to understand it in a nutshell that educational objectives are really very important to set. So I'm reading it. He was a Hindu and an Indian, the greatest in many generations, and he was proud of being a Hindu and an Indian. To him, India was dear because she had represented throughout the ages certain immutable truths. But though he was intensely religious and came to be called the father of nation, which he had liberated, yet no so narrow religious or national bonds confined his spirit, and so he became the great internationalist, believing in the essential unity of man, the underlying unity of all religions and the need of humanity, and more especially devoting himself to the service of the poor, the distressed, and the oppressed millions everywhere. So, students, this is the paragraph which I have shown in front of you. Now, let me tell you how the questions will be framed now, according to the different objectives given by Bloom. Now, if you are asking that, who is the person mentioned in this passage? Definitely, it is the knowledge level and covering the cognitive part of Bloom's taxonomy. Knowledge level because the students are recalling and they already know about the person that it is talked about national father Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. Now, second question, was India dear to him? Explain in your words. So this is the comprehension level that either the students are understanding if Mahatma Gandhi loved India or not through the description of the teacher. So when they are explaining it in their own words, that means they are understanding something, comprehending something, and now they are writing. So this is again relating to the cognitive part. So third question is related to which of his values would you like to develop in your own day-to-day life. So this is again the characterization level when the students are learning from the example of someone or getting inspiration or they are feeling something to do, that is called the affective part, and this is again Bloom's taxonomy covering here, that is the affective part, and the students will be realizing how they will be developing their in their day-to-day life the values of Mahatma Gandhi. Now examine the following sentence. He became the great internationalist. How far is this true? So valuing level is covered here, and again affective part is covered here. So students, it is really very important for everyone, every teacher to set the instructional objectives beforehand so that the students are learning more better in a more good way. Clear, students? So now these are some references which is given for your more study purpose, and I really hope you will study them and you will be enjoying study more about. So in nutshell, students, I really conclude this lecture by saying that Bloom's taxonomy is really very important medium of setting an instructional objectives for any teachers. And when we are talking about different parts of parts of we can call domain of Bloom's taxonomy, we include cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain. And specifically, we have dealt with cognitive learning in this lecture, and this is immersive and active process, and this is engaging students as well as teacher senses in a constructive and long lasting way, and it is actually the process which is teaching us teacher as well as student also to maximize the brain's potential, how it will be becoming more clear and easier about a particular chapter and collecting a new information with existing ideas, deepening the memory and retention capacity, how much the retention is there. So instead of memorization as in the traditional classroom teaching, cognitive learning focuses on past knowledge. Clear, students? So it trains you to reflect on the material and connect it with past knowledge for more robust learning. So this not only makes cognitive learning a more effective way of gaining knowledge, but it also makes you a better learner for long term. So, students, in this lecture, we have seen that who was Benjamin S. Bloom. We had seen his introduction, and then we have seen that Bloom has given his original taxonomy in 1956 with his collaborators, and then in 2001 its revised taxonomy came. So, students, we have seen the uh, different key terms that were used by Bloom in original taxonomy. So when we are talking about original taxonomy, so Bloom was talking about six main terms, which were knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and in last, evaluation. So these were six elements which were covered by Bloom's taxonomy. Clear, students? So I really hope that all of you will be getting maximum benefit from Bloom's taxonomy in setting up your instructional objectives. So students, see you in the next class with next domain. I will be teaching you next domain, which is affective and then psychomotor also. So till then, revise your Bloom's taxonomy. So see you in the next class, students. Till then, stay safe, stay happy, and keep learning.